Alright, today we're going to do a little work on the pickup. I'm actually doing something kind of interesting here. So you can see this is an electric fan equipped truck. Most people love that. They take the belt driven fan off and go electric. Well, I do the opposite. I'm having trouble with these and I'm tired of it. They refuse to kick on. I mean, the truck could be so hot it just lights a fire and these fans would never kick on. I've replaced every switch, sensor, all the relays are in good shape. The only way it kicks on is to turn the AC on and just to draw the air through the condenser, and that's how I cool the truck off. And I am tired of doing that. I shouldn't have to do that. It should just cool itself. So I'm getting rid of this worthless electric fan setup, which I feel that's the case on all cars. All cars should have a belt-driven fan. I'm just saying. Robs horsepower, this and that. That's a bunch of crap. It doesn't rob enough horsepower to care about. And if these kick on, you're robbing power through the alternator anyway. And I know they shut off at like 35 miles an hour somewhere in there, but still. You're still putting a load on the alternator anyway, so what the heck. But either way, this is going to be a little tricky because I can't just disconnect those motors down there. If I do that, the check engine light's going to come on. So we're going to have to do some ghetto type engineering here. And I don't know if it's going to work, so we'll see what happens. That was super easy. So far. Yeah, just unplug the two connectors. There's only two bolts up top that hold it in. The bottom just kind of clips down onto that core support thingy down there. I'll have to clean that, as you can see. Yeah, and just remove the, the air snorkel thing, and radiator hose just kind of bends up out of the way, and yeah, pretty easy. I'm just noticing I think I have to clean that a little bit. Looking pretty black behind that plate there. And it looked like I might have a slight seepage out of that freeze plug, but I'm not going to worry too much about it, honestly. Okay. So we'll see if the lower fan shroud goes in after I clean that up. Actually, what I'm going to do, probably, I'm going to take the motors loose from the, from this here. I think I'll just pull the fans off, pull the motors out, just have the motors like naked, and then my ghetto thought is to plug them both in and mount them somewhere down in here. Just zip tie them down there or something. And the only time it'll ever come on is if I turn the AC on. And that'll only be at low speeds as well. So I'm hoping that will trick the computer into thinking it still has electric fans. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe it somehow will sense the motor doesn't have a fan blade on it. Like there's no load on it, and it'll think there's something wrong and throw a check engine light. I hope not. I freaking hope not. But we'll see if it works. Okay, so it was a little tricky getting these blades off. I was trying to, I popped the clips off with just a hammer and a screwdriver. I just kind of pounded it this way to release that. Just put a screwdriver here and then tap and push it off. That was nothing, but I was trying to put a vice grip on the top of that little nub and spin the blade off. Well, that was a bad idea because obviously these three little legs are holding the fan blade from spinning on the shaft, so that didn't work too well. So I started heating up with the heat gun here. I just heat this up pretty dang hot. I mean, these can take a lot of heat. and they're designed to take a lot of heat. So got that good and hot, and it just literally just slowly wiggled it back and forth, and it popped straight up. So did that on both sides, just so you know if you ever have to take those off. So now I'm going to take those 3 bolts out on each motor, remove them. I'm going to plug them in and start the truck up, turn the AC on, and hope to God I don't get a check engine light. We'll see what happens. Okay, well, I just plugged the motors in, set them down there for now. What I'm going to have to do is start the truck up. Of course, make sure this guy's connected. Otherwise, that'll set off a check engine light. So all of our sensors are plugged in, motors are plugged in. We just ain't got no cooling fans, just to test it here. I'm going to turn the AC on, and I hope I don't get a check engine light, because if I do, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do about that. That's really going to be a bummer. I will be kind of stuck in a bad situation. So hopefully the computer doesn't sense that there's no fan blades connected to them motors. Oh man, let's see what happens. Please, 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 please. Okay, we're gonna turn the AC on, see what happens. Let me check and see if that motor's spinning. Okay, the motor just kicked in. You could... Oh no. They're both turning. I hope I don't have a check engine light. No, I don't. Oh, lordy. Both motors are spinning. I so far don't have a check engine light. I hope it stays that way. I don't want to run it too long. I don't want to get that AC messed up from having no airflow through it. Yeah, they're both running at low speed down there, which ain't gonna hurt nothing. So I'll just have to mount those so they're not, make sure those motors don't hit anything, so they can spin freely down there. I just want them to run a little bit, make sure it ain't going to set the engine light off here. That's what I'm afraid of. Well, so far, okay, I just turned off the cooling. I'm not sure how long those motors keep running for. I'm thinking they just keep running until I get up to a certain speed, probably. That's probably what they do. They're probably going to run even if the AC isn't turned on. Turn the AC on again. Yeah, I think it's at like 30 or 35, somewhere in there they shut down. I might as well shut it down. Hopefully we're okay here. I think what I'm going to do is let it cool for a minute and start it back up, try it one more time just to be certain. And if everything's kosher, we'll mount those motors with zip ties or something down in there so they're not hitting anything, and then we can proceed with the rest of the job here. Okay, so I got the motors mounted down here. I just zip tied them down in here. I drilled 2 holes for each ear on those motors into the plastic down there on that skid plate thingy, and I can't believe how tight they turned out. I mean, you can't even wiggle them. I mean, they're down there nice and tight. Use some good zip ties. Got plenty of clearance. It's not going to hit anything. Got the wires out of the way. So if I ever have to replace a motor, I'll just drop that little plate down and yeah, do it that way. So it's all about just keeping that check engine light off. So yeah, that's that so far. So yeah, we'll see if we can get this lower shroud in, and you can see here that it just literally sets down on top of that, like, core support, whatever you call that, down here. It just sort of sits on top of this lip. That's all it does. There's no clips or anything you got to worry about. So we'll get that lower shroud in, and then we'll go ahead and mount the fan on the pulley, and then we can do the upper shroud, and hopefully that does the trick. Well, that took a whole 5.5 seconds. I mean, I love this design, actually. Yeah, that shroud just sets right down in there, and it just sets there, and then the top one just kind of holds everything in. I mean, it's in there. It ain't going anywhere. So yeah, pretty cool design, actually. Real simple and easy to do. So yeah. Okay, yeah, so lower shroud in, fans on. We got our pulley holder tool and our tightening wrench in there. 41 pounds. I am not going to worry about that. I'm just tightening it as tight as I can get it, basically. So it'll be fine. It spins in the tightening direction anyway. So yeah, and those are regular threads. Those aren't reverse thread. I mean, the engine spins this way, but the water pump spins backwards. So just so you know. And if for any reason we're not getting enough idle cooling, especially with the AC, I'll just, if I have to, I'll just pull this off and jerry-rig that little spring on the front of the fan and just have a fully engaged clutch. I really don't care. I'd rather have it cooling than not cooling. I'd rather lose a few miles per gallon here and there and have a nice cool engine. So I don't plan on doing that. I shouldn't have to, but I bought the cheapest clutch they had. I don't know if there's a difference between AC fan clutches and no AC, so I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, finally completely together here. Everything went really smooth. Yeah, everything's lining up perfectly. Nothing's rubbing. All the hoses work. I mean, you don't have to get new hoses or nothing. All that's the same. Even this air intake clears the new shroud. The only thing I was missing was the strap for the hose, but you can see, just take a piece of vacuum hose and some zip ties and it does just the same. So yeah, everything just went way too smooth here. So I haven't started it yet, but I don't see any reason we should have any trouble. But I guess we'll fire it up and triple check here. Oh, I love that sound. The sound of a fan, a real fan. And I love it, you guys. I mean, it's got just a tad bit of a wobble to it, but that's what you get for buying the cheapest fan on the internet. But it'll be fine. I ain't worried about it. It's got a clutch on it. I don't think it'll go flying off there or nothing. Yeah, it's funny. It's off just a touch. It's nothing bad, but either way. Rev it up a little bit. Oh, listen to that. Oh, that's like the sound of a fan that actually works. Now, my only other thing is I hope the idle speed is the same. Like, I don't know if they would have slowed down the idle for cars with electric fans or not. I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, it's not going to have such a load that it's going to kill the motor or nothing like that. So, anyway, I think we're golden. Sounds like it should. So yeah, there's that. Mechanical belt-driven fan conversion complete. Alright, well, I've been driving and driving some more, letting it idle. I mean, it's running right where it should. It no longer climbs up, you know, to 230 degrees. Idle seems fine, right at like 600, so I don't think there's anything too wrong with that. But yeah, that was the best thing I did to this truck, that's for sure, eh? There's nothing worse than dealing with a truck that's running hot when you're trying to get a McDouble. You know, that's where the problem is at idle. You know, there's no air flowing through the radiator, so hopefully that's solved. Actually, I know it is. I'm not even worried about it. So anyway, I forgot to tell you, you will need two M6 by 1.0 thread bolts, about 1.25 inches long, for the top of that fan shroud, if you decide to do a similar thing to your vehicle. So anyhow, that's the end of it. We're good to go. Thanks for watching.